Hi guys, I'm Pix.Zel. I made the eye sweater pattern that I saw off Pinterest made by Caroline. Personally, I want to say this tutorial can look intimidating, but it's really not. You do learn a couple of new stitches, but it's not that hard. You learn the V-stitch, cluster stitch, extended double crochet. If you don't know any of those already, there's a couple other ones, but it's not that hard. You learn it and then you kind of just redo it and it becomes easy, something you can learn in, something you could do in other patterns, okay? Also, I want to say sorry for that other video. I know it was really long. I didn't have the tools to cut it down, okay? So don't get on me in the comments. But I know a lot of people wanted a cut version where they didn't have to like just skip through the whole time. And I know this one looks pretty long still, which it is, but I have to go in detail because like I said, there's a lot of different stitches and it's in depth for people that are like kind of beginners, okay? And almost every row is a different stitch, so it's just not like double crochet for this many rows, okay? It's not that, at least for the first 10 rows. It's not like that, okay? Also, again, I thought my last video was only going to be watched by my friends, and then like 100,000 people watched it. It was so unexpected, but like thank you so much for my new subscribers, my new followers, okay? I really made that video for my friends, so this is gonna be kind of better, same kind of clips and same kind of background stuff, but a little bit less amateur because I'm new to this. This is like my third video, so don't get on me. But if you want to see some of my other tutorials and some of the other sweaters that I've made, I'll link it in the description, all my shops and my pages, okay? Also, tips, okay? Must watch tips before making the pattern, okay? Because I notice a lot of people, it comes out kind of differently, or they're like expecting something a little different that they can alter themselves. So I'm just gonna kind of tell you how to do it right now, and I'll tell you how to do it at the end. I'll also kind of tell you while making the pattern, okay? But this I feel like is a must watch because I see a lot of people suggesting tips in the other video or just like asking me these questions, so just watch this, okay? So I also literally wrote down all the freaking comments that I wanted to respond to and the tips that I thought were important. Okay, so the pattern is also adjusted for people who like don't know how to count, because I didn't know how to count. So I wanted it to be adjustable. So like if you miss a stitch or two, you miss an increase, you somehow accidentally decrease, it's fine, okay? But make sure what you do to one panel, you have to do to the other. Otherwise your stitches will not align. So what I suggest is making up the increase in another row if you can, or just like writing somewhere down. Make sure I add this increase in row blank for my next panel, okay? That's really important because I don't want you coming up with uneven number of stitches and then you're having a hard time putting your panels together, okay? That's important. And this is kind of a long pattern, so yeah, I don't want you guys struggling with the easy parts, the sewing parts, because that part should be easy, okay? So hook size is important. I notice a lot of people do not have a freaking 11 size hook. 11 mm hook. All right, but I suggest if you really aren't gonna get the hook, then you at least need a size 6, okay? A size 6, and you need to have loose tension when you do it, okay? There might be a day where I make a little bit of a more modest eye sweater where you can only use one hook, but for now I think the big hook is needed because a lot of people were talking about how their eyes started scrunching up and how it looked like there was a bunch of ruffles after, which I don't want. I've had so many complaints, so many people comment on it, and then I'm like, well, what kind of hook did you use, because it looks like you didn't change it. And they're like, well, I didn't have a 10. And I'm like, that's probably what it was. I'm so sorry. I don't want you to undo all of that, but the huge hook is important for this. Now I suggest if you're gonna use a smaller hook than 6, like my last one I used 5.75, but most people didn't have that. They never even heard of it. I was like, I just found this. I suggest also have loose tension. Like if you're doing a 4, you need to have a little bit of loose tension, because switching from a 4mm hook to an 11 is kind of a big step, okay? So hook size is important, guys. If your eye is popping out, this is kind of for like if after you didn't pay attention to the hook size or anything, if your eye is popping out, what I suggest is blocking it, or again, you need to have loose tension when you do your next panel. Okay, because I notice people have like really tight tension and then their panel starts ruffling. Now I don't think you need to have it super loose, okay? That's not what I'm saying, but like for people that know their tension is like super tight, yeah, I think that could be a problem here. But that's like the main cause why the middle of your eye, the circle part surrounding the eye before you go into that square shape is popping out, is because people might have tight tension, okay? And it's kind of the adjustment when you're switching from size 6 to size 11 millimeter hook, okay? Also, for people who don't want like a boxy type of sweater, if you just want it to be circular, you're kind of going to follow the pattern differently, okay? It's going to be the same, but you're going to do a lot more rows for circles than you are squares. So what I suggest is don't turn it into a square at all until your very last row. That way you can still see where your corner spaces are, okay? So I'll show you how to turn it into a square later, of course, in the pattern, but basically just do a bunch of rows where it stays circular. So when I'm turning it into a square, ignore me. We'll still watch the video so you know for later how to turn the square, but don't do the same thing that I'm doing, I guess. Just keep doing circles. Watch how to do it, but of course just keep doing your circles. That way you get that circular kind of square, or circular kind of sweater at the bottom, okay? And it's not boxy, okay? Because this sweater is kind of boxy, but the I don't know how the original person designed it. I don't know. They don't make or sell patterns, so I didn't ask them about it, but from experience, how I make my sweaters less boxy is I just do circles, and then at my very last row I do one square. That way I could still see where my corner spaces are and I could sew it easily, okay? But I'll also, again, I'll revisit some of these tips throughout the video, okay? I think that's all for the tips. I might make some comments as well. I don't know. So just to recap, if you make a mistake, make sure you're writing it down for your panel, for your next panel, okay? If you want a less boxy look, do circular rounds. Don't turn it into a square to your very last round. And then it's okay to make mistakes, okay? But what you do to one panel, you have to do to the other, okay? You can't just make it to a circle and then the other one is like, now I want it to be a square, okay? So make sure you're lining them up, all right? Now I'm gonna get into the materials that I used. Hold on, let me just go off camera for a second. Sorry. I suggest, and I use Red Heart acrylic yarn for all of my sweaters because it looks thicker. And I notice when other people use like weight 3, it comes out looking really thin, and it looks kind of more like a summer sweater, I guess. Not summer, but like more spring. And like I think the thicker vibe is definitely preferred, okay? So when people ask me, well, what do you prefer? I prefer weight 4, something like Red Heart yarn, or twist. I like twist as well. I think it's called twist. I started using it this year, okay? Don't quote me on anything. And then scissors, okay? Scissors, my 11 millimeter hook, and 6mm hook, and a needle is optional. Sewing needle is optional, though you can use crochet hooks. That's what I do when I get lazy, okay? And measuring tape is optional, okay? And I believe that's all I used. And I'm just gonna, I guess mandatory color, well, they're not mandatory, but black for the eye. I prefer to do white after I do my 2 shades for my eye, but I noticed a lot of people doing different ones, which is still super cute, so it's optional. But I guess black and white colors are kind of mandatory. Sorry, my throat started hurting. But yeah, that's all that I have to say, I guess. I'm just gonna kind of get into it, and I'll re-say these tips at the end as well, okay? All right, first I'm going to start with my 5.5 hook and start with the color black. If you're using a smaller hook while making the eye, just make sure your tension is a little bit looser. Otherwise, it could create your panels to start curling or your eye to curl up. Sorry, my black yarn is pretty tangled, but I don't need that much anyway, so. I'm going to start with a magic ring. And then we're going to just chain up 2. And then we're going to double crochet 8 in our magic ring, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'm gonna pull my string and I'm gonna do a color change. Now we're gonna change to the color that we want our eyes to be, so it's like the part before the white part. I usually start off with a lighter shade first, so I'm going to use this green. And for my color change, what I do is I go in the first stitch and I put a loop, make a loop on my hook with my new color, and I pull through that first stitch and I pull through the loop on the hook, okay? And to tighten that, you can just pull the black part, that way there's no space there. And then I chain up 2, okay? So also what I do when I'm doing color changes is I just tie the 2 colors together before I weave in my ends. I like to tie it 2 times. And then what I do is I also crochet over this green end right here as I go, okay? So we're gonna do 2 double crochet in each stitch, so now you're gonna have 16 stitches in total. I'm gonna go ahead and cuff the black part, okay, because we won't be needing the black again unless you have black in your pattern, of course. So double crochet 2 in each stitch. 1, 2, and see how I'm crocheting over my green. That way I don't have to just weave it in later, because honestly I hate having to weave in and sew my stuff. Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of fast forward a little till I get to the end of my stitch. Okay, I'm at the end of my row, and I'm about to do a color change again. So I'm gonna take our next color. I like to do a darker shade of the first color that I did. That's just my preference. I'm gonna go in it. I'm gonna make a loop on my hook, see, and I'm gonna pull through that stitch and pull through the loop already on our hook. I'm gonna tighten it, okay, and then I'm gonna chain up 2 again. All right, and I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it off and tie those 2 together. Now however you weave in your ends or do your color changes, that's fine. I just like to show how I do mine. Okay, so I'm going to do again 2 double crochet in each stitch, basically exactly the same as the last row. This is just creating enough increases in stitches for our next row when we're doing the like shaping of the eye. Okay, So whatever you had last round, so 16 stitches you should have had, you're just gonna have double that. I think that's 32. Don't quote me on that if it's not 32, because I'm not the best at math. And I'm just gonna fast forward to when I get to the end of my round. Okay, so I am now at the end of my row 3 now. I am going to do another color change to white, so I'm going to slip stitch, well, not slip stitch, but we're going to do my color change that is kind of a slip stitch on the loop, pull through the first stitch and the one on the hook, okay? And this time, instead of chaining 2, we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to do a treble crochet in that same chain 4 space. Okay, so pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Next we're going to do a extended double crochet, so only yarn over once, and then we're going to pull through 2, pull through 1, and then pull through 2. Okay, next a double crochet, pull through 2, pull through 2, half double crochet where you pull through all 3, and then we're going to do 4 single crochet. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the 5th, well, in the next one we're going to do 2 single crochet, 1, 2, okay, and then another, we're going to basically repeat the stitches that we just did but backwards. So 4 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a half double crochet where we pull through all 3 loops, double crochet, pull through 2, pull through 2, extended, pull through 2, pull through 1, pull through 2, and then treble. Okay, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. All right, so we're basically just going to repeat what we did on the top part of the eye to the bottom. So extended again, pull through 2, pull through 1, pull through 2, and then just double crochet where you pull through 2 twice, half double crochet, pull through all 3, single crochet 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the next stitch we're going to do 2 single crochet, 1, 2, and then single crochet 4, 1, get more yarn, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to do a half double crochet, a double crochet, and then end on extended double crochet. Okay, so our last stitch should be extended double crochet, pull through 2. Okay, so the reason why we're not, like, there's no stitch for treble is because we did the treble very first. So there's 1 treble on each side. All right, so we're not color changing, we're still on the eye, so we're gonna go into that first stitch, the treble, and just slip stitch through it. Okay, now like I said, make sure your tension is a little loose if you're using a smaller hook, because if you use a smaller hook, your eye will definitely start to curl up. You kind of, if you're doing it throughout the whole pattern, you're definitely going to want a looser tension. Otherwise, your whole front panel for the circle part will start to curl up. Okay? Now, in general, just don't have it too tight because you want it to be kind of flowy and open. All right? So this time we are going to chain up 3, and we're going to start with an extended double crochet, and my tension isn't going to be that tight either. Even though I'm using the right hook, I'm still not going to have it too tight. Extended double crochet in that same chain 3 space. So pull through 2, pull through 1, pull through 2, double crochet, half double crochet, and then we're going to single crochet 5. Okay, we're kind of just repeating what we did in the last row. And then we're going to make an increase, 2 single crochet in the same stitch, and then 5 single crochet after that. And then we're gonna, like I said, just be repeating half double crochet, double crochet, extended double crochet, pull through 2, pull through 1, pull through 2, and then we're going to do 2 treble crochets in the next stitch. Okay, so 1, 2, and then I'm going to just do what we did to the top part. Okay, so extended, pull through 2, pull through 1, pull through 2, double, pull through 2, pull through 2, half, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, and then I'm going to do 4 single crochet this time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to single crochet 2 in the next stitch. 1, 2, and then single crochet 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then we're going to do half double crochet, double, and then extended, pull through 2, pull through 1, pull through 2, and then we're going to do a treble in our last stitch. You see the chain 4 that we did here, it looks like a stitch, but it's not a stitch. Okay, so our last is doing 2 treble in this last stitch. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, wait, didn't yarn over enough for that one. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm just going to go back in our first stitch, which should be the extended double, and I'm going to slip stitch. Well, I'm going to do a color change actually, since we're done with our eye part. Okay, you see how well, for now I'm going to kind of slip stitch so you guys can just see what the shaping of mine looks like. And I know it's kind of popping up, but with the increases that we do in the next couple of rows, you'll see it flatten out. It's already pretty kind of flat, but like I said, if you're using a smaller hook, it might pop up a little bit more. Okay, but as long as you have this shape, you're doing really good so far. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna do my color change. I'm going to change to this light brown. We're gonna go back to chaining up 2, and then you're going to basically just double crochet 1 in each stitch going around, no increases or anything. Okay, we will add increases throughout the next row, but for this one I'm just tying my back, cutting it off so I don't have to do it all at once later. Okay, so double crochet in that first one, and again, make sure your tension is not too tight, otherwise it will start to curl up, and I think it'll still be cute, but it won't be like fixable, because you won't like want to have to frog your whole project. And I'm just gonna fast forward here Like I said, it's just double crochet one in each, and make sure your tension isn't too tight, okay? Okay, so this is how it's looking. I'm about to do my color change. We're gonna go to a darker green now. This is kind of a weight 3 yarn, though I prefer weight 4, but this is a custom order. I also really like the color. So just my regular color change. Chain up 2. We're about to do cluster stitches. We're gonna work on the bottom half of the eye to do the clusters in. So let me just tie this really quickly. Okay, I believe it's gonna be just double crocheting till you get to your other half, and then we're going to do the clusters at the bottom like I said. So it should be like 19 or 20 double crochets, but sorry, I forgot I was supposed to be double crocheting over my ends, but I'm not anymore. 2, 3, just because it takes too long. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, sorry, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and I'm looking back at it just to see. Yeah, I'm gonna do, that's 20. I'm gonna make it one more. 20. And then I'm going to chain 1, okay, and we're going to skip a stitch, and we're gonna start our cluster. Actually, let's just do 19. I'm sorry. 19, chain 1, skip that 20th stitch, and we're going to double crochet 3 in that one stitch, and that's what makes it a cluster, when all the stitches are in one place. That's basically what the cluster means. Chain 1, skip a stitch, do another cluster, 3 double crochet and 1 stitch, chain 1 again, skip a stitch, double crochet 3 and 1 stitch. Okay, and the clusters create the increases that are gonna be able to kind of lay it out flat. I know the top is probably kind of curling up right now, but we're gonna do a top cluster in the next row as well. So chain 1, skip a stitch, do a cluster in the next stitch, 3, chain 1, skip, cluster, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip, and I'm just gonna that's what you're doing for the rest of the row basically. I won't fast forward this time. But hopefully this is better for those people that were complaining, because I know the other video was too long and I just couldn't clip it down last time, and I don't want it to be 2 hours again, but I still want you guys to like understand and see, because the in-depth is so is a lot better for beginners or people who think it looks intimidating when it's not. Okay, chain 1, skip, last cluster, and I'm sorry if I'm going kind of fast this time. Okay, so I have total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clusters. I know this color is a little dark and it's kind of hard to see the stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 9 clusters. And I'm going to do, since there's one more stitch left, I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to skip that stitch, and I'm just going to slip stitch and do my color change in the first stitch we did. Okay, so my next color will be this light green. Okay, now that chain 1 space will count as a stitch. All these chain 1 stitches will count as a stitch for our next row. Okay, so excuse me, I'm just gonna tie off the back parts. Well, not tie off, but tie the back parts, that way I don't have to later. Okay, chain 2. Now, like I said in the beginning, that your chain 2 parts usually do not count as stitches, but since we're doing clusters, it might look like a stitch. So I'm just going to chain 2, and I'm going to do 2 double crochet inside of the first stitch, because your chain 2 will look like a stitch. So this will look like a complete cluster of 3 stitches and 1. See, 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and do a cluster in that next stitch. Okay, chain 1, skip a stitch, do another cluster, and this is basically we're going to be doing all the way down. Chain 1, skip. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of fast forward for this bit though, since we already know what to do since we did it to the bottom. Okay, so I just finished doing the top cluster stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in total. I guess we had 9 on top and 9 on bottom, which is good. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to skip I'm gonna chain 1. I still did my cluster and then chain 1, and then I'm going to skip this stitch. Okay, and in the very first chain 1 that we did, I'm going to double crochet in it. Okay, so from now on we're going to be doing double crocheting in each cluster stitch, and then also our chain 1 stitches. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was the total 4, which is our chain 1, the 3 double crochets from our cluster, so that should be 4. I'm gonna keep going in our chain 1 space. I'm doing a double crochet, so that's 1. Well, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. What helps me, which is why I'm like counting, is because when I end on a number divisible by 4, that's how I know I'm not skipping any stitches. So when I'm doing my chain 1 space, and then the first cluster stitch, second one, and then third one, and I'm ending on a number divisible by 4, that's what helps me know I didn't skip anything. Okay, So that was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Okay, and I'm done with that. Now if we want this part to keep looking like a cluster like it does, I guess let me just see here. We're gonna keep the chain 1, so I'm going to chain 1, and I'm just going to slip stitch in the top of the chain 2 or 3 that we did. I forgot, but I'm just gonna slip stitch in that, and I'm gonna do it really tight, that way it still looks like I did a cluster right there. Okay, all right, so that was that chain 1, and then slip stitch into the chain 2 that we did in the beginning. Okay, or you can do your, I'm gonna redo it and do my color change, of course, but I wanted to kind of flatten it and show you guys what it's looking like so far. Okay, as you can see, it's not really curling up anymore. It might be kind of poking out, but again, that just is the tension and the hook that you use. Okay, for the next rows, we're going to be doing like 2 or 3 rows of double crochet. All right, so my next color is going to be this dark brown. I'm going to go ahead and do the color change. Okay, I'm going to chain up 2, 1, 2, and like I said, I'm just going to do a double crochet in each stitch and the chain 1 spaces. Okay, so for this one, you're not going to go into the previous chain 2 space, you're just going to go into that first stitch that we did. Okay, and I'm going in my chain 1 spaces. Okay, and that's what you're going to do all around. I'm gonna do my tying in the back, and then I'm gonna fast forward to when I'm done doing just double crochet 1 in each. Okay, so I'm done with my row of double crochet. After, if you want to go ahead and kind of skip forward, we're just going to do another row of double crochet. After that row of double crochet, we're going to be switching hooks. Okay, I just want to do a little recap as well on what we've done so far and how many rows we have and how it's looking. So where we did the magic ring of 8, the middle of the eye where we did 2 stitches in each for 2 rows, so that's 3 rows total. We had 2 rows of the white where we did the shaping of the eye, a row of just double crochet, a row for bottom clusters, a row for top clusters, and a row of double crochet. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows, I believe. Okay, and again, like I said, we're just going to be doing another row of double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to change my color now to a little bit of a lighter brown. won't bother going into another how-to for this row since we just did a row like this. Just double crocheting. Okay, and I'll fast forward. Okay, here's how it is looking so far. Mine is kind of like it reverts back to kind of not curling but like lifting up, so using the bigger hook will help with that. We're about to switch to our bigger hook now. Let me just say some tips. If you think you missed a few stitches, what you do on one panel you have to do on the other, otherwise the stitches are not going to align. So if it makes it easier for you, go ahead and do this part on another panel. Like, go ahead and start your other panel just to make it easier. That way you do not have to keep counting your stitches over and over, or you don't have to like frog your project. Okay, also for people who think they could just use the small hook throughout the whole thing, your pattern will definitely start curling if you do that, just because the tension is important. So you have to have a bigger hook, I'd say. One day I might come up with the more modest version of the pattern where you do not need to change hooks. I suggest if you do want to keep using a smaller hook, you need to add more increases gradually. I'm not going to go ahead and go into detail by how much you have to do, because I don't know, and I don't want to steer you guys wrong, but maybe like increasing every 15 for the rows. That way, because increasing stops curling up. Like we did for the cluster stitches, it stopped the eye from curling up. Okay, so that's just some tips for if you can't change hooks, like if you don't have a big hook. Okay, so just recap again: what you do to one panel, you have to do the other, and big hooks are important. Okay, so I'm about to do my color change. We're going to be using the thin green, so I'm just going to kind of use this hook, the small hook, for now, just because it's easier to do. It's easier to do the color change with a small hook instead of this huge hook. Also, I'm going to chain up 4 with this small hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch to my size 11. I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Okay, so changing hooks. Essentially what we're going to do is just be doing treble crochets. So, and we're going to go into that first stitch. Now it's definitely going to be a tight fit. Okay, so this row might be a little tricky or more time consuming. Okay, and your chain 4 might count as a treble crochet. Okay, because we're making it kind of look like the clusters. Let me finish so you guys know what I'm talking about. And this is our second treble, and then we're going to chain 1, skip a stitch, do a treble, and then do 2 more trebles in the next 2 stitches. Sorry, with the thin yarn, it's also really soft, so it slips off my hook pretty easily. So these aren't exactly cluster stitches, but they're similar. I don't exactly know what they're called, but you see how there is this space right here. The chain 3 creates the illusion that it's also a treble. That's why we're gonna only do 2 treble crochet in the beginning. Okay, so chain 4, 2 treble crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, 3 treble crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, 3 treble crochet, and that's the pattern that we're going to be doing throughout this row. Okay, I'm going to chain 1, skip a stitch, treble crochet 3 in the next 3 stitches. crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, sorry if I'm going too fast, treble crochet in the next stitch, treble crochet in the next stitch, treble crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and let's say you guys make a mistake and you accidentally forget to do a chain 1 space, you can make it up in the next row by just forcing your hook between the trebles. Okay, and let's say you do 4 treble crochet on accident. It's okay, but what you do to one pattern you have to do to the other. Just remember that. Okay, usually 9 out of 10 times it's not noticeable if you don't want to frog it, but like I said, one panel you have to do to the other. You can write it down, that way you can remember what to do, like what to change, like where you made the mistake, and just do it on the other panel. Or you could do what I suggest and just do both at the same time. It feels a lot faster that way to me as well. And I'm just going to fast forward here, okay? But this is what it's looking like so far, okay? Now for 2 rows we're just going to do a double crochet before we turn it into a square. Pro tip, if you want a more if you don't want it to be as boxy, what I suggest is not turning it into a square at the same time I do. It's just, you can keep doing circular rows until you get it as big as you want, but then in the last row change it. I'll repeat this, by the way. In the last row you're going to make it into a square for only 1 row though. That way it's still easy to count your stitches, but it still has that circular shape to it. We're not going to be doing that. I'm just going to be turning it into a square because I don't mind the look, I like it, but that's for people who I guess don't want it to be too boxy. But I think it's cute anyway, like a regular shirt or a regular sweater. Okay, I'll repeat it later when we get to the square. For now I'm going to chain up 2, and I'm just going to do my 2 rows of double crochet. Okay, it's actually 3 rows, but on the 3rd row is important because that's where you're going to be counting. That's where we're going to be after that row we're going to be turning it into a square. So for the trebles you're also going to double crochet in your chain 1 spaces as well. Those count as stitches, as I said before. I think I missed a stitch in the beginning because the yarn I used, it was very like I said, light, so I feel like I'm skipping a stitch. That's hard to see as well. 1, 2, 3. And just like with the cluster stitches, when we counted 4 each time, it was divisible by 4. That also kind of might help here. And I'm probably going to fast forward to the end of this row, but like I said, if you just want to go ahead and fast forward to creating the square row, what we're going to do is we're going to make 3 rows of double crochet, and for the 3rd row we're going to be counting all of our stitches. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. Okay, so I'm at the end of my row for just double crochet. I'm just going to do my usual color change. Okay, into that first stitch I'm chaining up 2, and I'm just doing another row of double crochet. Okay,
make sure you guys are not missing stitches. We chain 2 in that first stitch, but we also go back into it with double crochets. Okay, that's how it is for every row. So don't skip over it, because you're, like I said, your chain 2 spaces are not counting as stitches unless specified, like earlier with the cluster stitches. Okay, so this is the second row of just double crochet. I don't need to do like a how-to for this row, so I'm just gonna fast forward again. Okay, I won't record the fast forwarding, but also just make sure your tension is not too tight, even with the big hook. Okay, because you don't want it you don't want your middle part, the circular part, poking out too much. I've had a couple people talk about how they had problems with that. Now everything for the pattern, why your pattern might look different, is because you might have missed a couple stitches. You might have used a different type of yarn. You know, weight of yarn matters as well. Even if your hook is off by like 2 numbers, like you use 7 instead of 5, it matters. It looks kind of different. It determines the outcome. Doing it your first time also, that's my dog outside, but doing it for like the first time, it might look a little different, and you might have to like get used to crocheting this way. Somebody's tension could also determine how it'll look as well. There are a lot of factors that go into it, and it might not be like foolproof, you know, like 100% the same as the person in the video, but it's just stuff to look out for. Okay, just little stuff to pay attention to. And never feel bad that yours doesn't look like the video. I'd say even if you're having trouble, like say you're doing all the same stitches and everything, but it still doesn't look exactly like theirs, don't just kind of quit. Keep going. That's even if you're a beginner and like you don't know that many stitches, I would definitely keep going. And if you like don't want to finish the eye sweater, like say you kind of just want to quit because you don't feel like you could keep going with it, like it gets a little intimidating maybe, or it gets too long, you could still definitely put this eye to use by using as decor. Like I've seen people pin the squares and the circles up to their car or on their wall, using it as the seat padding on their chairs, on the stool, using it as in the seat, the car seat decor as well. You could put it on there. I think that would be cute as well. Or just like decor for your desk, plate settings. That would be kind of cool for Halloween. I kind of made an eye sweater, well, I made an eye with webs, so I put the eye in the middle of the web and I hung it up in my room, also as decor, because I was making a custom order and then somebody like backed out after I already made bits of the eye, so I just put it to use. See, because I hate frogging projects. Also, I have so many unfinished projects because I just don't want to frog anything. And I'm almost done here. I didn't mean to talk during the whole row. I know some people don't like the uncut versions, but I figured I'd like give some tips during this row, just in case I haven't said it already, or just in case for people who need recaps on what I've said or anything. I try. Okay, so I am approaching the end, and for the next row, I won't fast forward. I'll just skip ahead, okay? But we're just gonna be doing another row of double crochet, okay? So to do my color change, and this is how it's looking so far. Okay, I think for my third row I might do a couple of increases. I'm going to increase every 15 or every 10, maybe every 10 instead. Okay, that's just to kind of stop this, because since I'm using a smaller hook than I usually do, I'm going to increase every 10 for my last third row. Okay, so I'll just kind of show how I do that first. Though we've done increases before, of course, already. So I'm going to chain up 2 after my color change, double crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now this is a little different than my written pattern as well. Like, I do the increase usually I think in the second row of double crochet, but honestly, as long as you're doing it in one of those rows, I think it's fine. Okay, so just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to do one more double crochet in that same 10th stitch. Okay, so 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm sorry if I'm going kind of off film, my bad. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let me just make sure that's right since I stopped for a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, see? So this is 20. This is the 10th stitch. Again, I'm just going to do one more double crochet in that 10th stitch. That's my increase. Okay, and hopefully for everybody that will kind of flatten it out. But that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the row, is doing a one decrease every 10 stitches. Okay, I mean, I don't know if I said decrease, but I meant one increase every 10 stitches. Okay, if you I guess are using a smaller hook, like I said, this is where you can kind of gradually increase more during these double crochet rows. But don't quote me, because I've never done a pattern with just one hook for this specific sweater. Okay, so here's where I am right now. I just did my last increase. Now if you don't end on 10, that's fine, or I mean end 10 doing your increase on the very last stitch, that's fine. That wasn't expected. The increase is just for just flattening it out, nothing curving basically. And since we are done with our row of double crochets for a bit, and we're about to turn it into a square, this is the part where this is important. The math is important. We're going to have to count each stitch carefully to make sure it is divisible by 4, because this is going to be a side, these two, and then this bottom here. Maybe I could kind of zoom out so you guys can see a little bit more. So square like this. Okay, so I feel like it's okay if you don't have the same exact number of stitches as me, as long as it's divisible by 4 and you've paid attention to what I've said, like all the tips that I mentioned in the beginning and throughout the rows. Okay, so I'm just gonna count on camera. Okay, remember the stitch where you do your chain up too. is the same stitch where you go into your double crochet, so that counts as a stitch as well. Don't forget that, okay? So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick recount. If you want, you could start adding stitch markers to like 50 while you're counting. I know people find it easier to do that, like they count to 50, add a stitch marker, and then keep counting. I have 81 so far, but I'm going to decrease 1 in my next row. That way I have 80. That way it's easy and divisible by 4. Okay. Let's say you have, somehow you ended up with 94 stitches. Here, let me get out the calculator. This is my old phone, so it has Among Us on it. Don't judge. Okay, so let's say like 94 divided by 4 is 23. So I feel like if you did like 96 divided by 4, that's 24. You would increase by 2. Okay, so just make 2 extra stitches for your 94. All right, that way each side of your square is 24. Okay, so another example, let's say you ended up with only like, I feel like you should not end up with like less than 70 stitches. If you do, definitely go back. Okay, so let's say 86, a couple more than me, divided by 4, 21. Okay, so if you want, you can kind of downgrade. So doing 84 divided by 4 is 21. So you could decrease 2 stitches. That way you have 21 stitches on each side. Okay, you're only going to do 1 stitch in the corner spaces. You guys will know what I'm talking about later, but basically it is double crocheting 20 and then chain up 3, and the next stitch you start your next side of your square by double crocheting 20 again, and then doing the chain 3, double crocheting 20, this side chain 3, double crochet 20. Okay, that's basically what it's going to be like. So I have 81. I'm just going to do 1 decrease, that way I'm doing 80 and I only have 20. I might have missed a stitch somewhere. The math might not always add up, but like I said, if you've followed all the tips that I have said before, and you're not like under 70, because I feel like 70 is way too low, and it's definitely shrunk up if it's under 70. Anyway, okay, so I feel like it's okay if you might be off a few stitches, but yeah. Okay, just make sure it looks like this, and what you do to one row you have to do to the other. So I'm going to add a decrease. I'm going to make sure I have 80 stitches on this row when I get to my next panel. Okay, so let's just recap rows as well while we're talking and not crocheting. So we've done the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. This is our 14th row. Okay, so what I was about to say is we've done our eye shaping. This is a total of 5 rows, a row of double crochet, bottom clusters, top clusters, 2 rows of just normal double crochet. If you want, you can if you're using a smaller hook, you might want to do increases here. Like if you only have 1 hook, you might do increases here more. But if you have a big hook, then it's fine. Like I said, don't quote me with the smaller hook thing, because I haven't had a pattern where I had to only use one hook throughout the whole thing. Okay, so then we did kind of the cluster, but it was just treble crochet. It wasn't all in the same stitch, but it was treble crochet, chain 1, treble crochet. Actually, you could see my treble crochet where I made a mistake. Okay, I only did 2 treble crochets and then a chain 2 between them, but as you can see, I still put my the stitches where they needed to go for the next row. Okay, and then I did a 2 rows of double crochet and then another row of double crochet, but increased every 10. Okay, so that's just a quick recap. So now we're about to turn it into a square, and I already showed you guys how to do the math for your specific sweater if you don't have the same numbers. Though I feel like they should really be around the same, but I've had people DM me where they had literally 68 and somehow it looked good for them. So if it looks fine, then don't fix it, I guess. But like I said, this is probably a lot of people's first time making something like this, so don't stress too much about it. It's just the more you do, the better you become at it. Sorry, had to figure out the next color I was gonna do. I think I might, I'm sorry. Let's just do the green. Yeah, I kind of wanted it to be random and out of order, but for the sake of the video, let's do a light color. Yeah, do a light color so you guys can see. Okay, so I'm just going to do my regular color change. All right, I guess I could zoom back in now. Regular color change, regular chain up 2. You know, actually I do have to zoom out and explain something really quickly. Just had to cut off my end a bit. So another important thing, I'm sorry, I know this clip is a little bit long and you guys just want to like kind of hop into it, but for our square, this is going to be all one side. So we're going to be starting half of this side and going to be finishing it on the other half. Okay, and then so I have 20, so I'm going to split my stitches in half. I'm going to do 10 here and then 10 at the end. All right, so again, I'm going to be doing 10 and then I'm going to do my corner space and then I'm going to do 20 in these 2 sides of my square. Okay, again, if you don't want to do if you want it to be more round, don't turn it into a square right now, do it later on. Still watch this part so you know what to do though later on, so you know how to turn it into a square. But for your last row, you're going to turn it into a square only if you want a more rounded shape. Okay, but like I said, we're going to do half of the stitches that we're supposed to in the beginning and then half at the end. Okay, so we have this side still. I know it's a little confusing, but that's so that our eye can still stay in this way and it's not like upside down like this, okay, or like halfway like this. Okay, that's the reason that we're doing half the stitches here and half at the bottom. All right, okay, I'm glad I didn't skip that part. Okay, so again, I have 20. Since I only need to do 1 decrease, I'm going to be adding a decrease just randomly throughout this whole row, and I only need 1 decrease again. Okay, so make sure you know how many stitches you're adding or subtracting. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's where I'm going to decrease. This is 6. See that? Hopefully I was not off the frame just now. I'm so sorry. But I just did 5 double crochets and then I did a decrease. You can kind of see the space between the stitches, making it to 1 stitch. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now for the making the corner space, all we're going to do is chain 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then you're not gonna go in the same double crochet. All right, I can kind of come back down. You're not gonna go in that double crochet, you're gonna go to the next one. Okay, and you're gonna start counting your square row over again. Okay, so 1, 2, I'm doing 20 now, 3, 4, 5, 6, that was kind of bad. Sorry, I kind of messed up on that stitch. 7, I think, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh, did I just say 17? Let me count, because sometimes I am thinking about 2 things at once while I'm supposed to be counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yep, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so that's one side of my square. Well, that's 1.5. Okay, now I'm going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3, 1. See how I didn't just go back into that same stitch? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so I'm going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to double crochet 20 again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so chain up 3, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now for the last row, I'm gonna do what I did in the beginning, and I should only have 10 now if my stitches are correct. Okay. Okay, so you just gotta go into the next stitch like normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 right there. 10 right there. I feel like my voice keeps changing and it's a little weird during the video. Okay, so now what you should do is you should make sure you have the same number of stitches on each side. Okay, that's important, and what you do on one side, one panel, you have to do to the other. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and kind of look at it from that square shape, just like this, just pull your chain 3 spaces and try to like pull it into that square shape. All right. So for the people, hopefully they didn't skip ahead, for the people who are kind of turning, want it to be more round and not so boxy, this is essentially what it's going to be looking like at the end. Okay, so you see how it's like not that boxy like, especially since you can spread it out how you want it. For the people who do want it to just be like kind of a regular sweater and keep going with the square shape, we're gonna keep going around and it's gonna become like more straight as you go. All right, you'll definitely be able to see the corners, okay, if you do it correctly. All right, make sure you're like lifting it up and stuff and seeing how it flows kind of. Okay, this is kind of my setup, guys, but this is how it's flowing. All right, it's not tight, it's definitely loose and flowy. Okay, I like that too because I don't always like the texture of like crochet clothes on my skin. Feels kind of weird, not itchy, but just different and kind of uncomfortable sometimes. That's why I only wear crochet sweaters. All right, or like long skirts, my 2 main patterns. Now I'm just going to go and do my color change like usual. Okay, so right now I'm going to go to my dark green. So I'm going to be changing to my dark green now, and we're just basically going to do another row of double crocheting and doing our corner spaces. Okay, so I might show you guys how to go inside your corner spaces for only 2 corners before I let you guys just try it for yourselves, because again I don't want to record every single row like I did the other video, but essentially they are the same if you want to go back to that one. Okay, so chain 1, chain 2, double crochet in it first. Okay, again, make sure you have the same amount of stitches on each side. Okay, so 1, 2, I should have 10 here. Well, I might have more than 10 because of the chain space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I missed one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, 10. Okay. So when you get to corner spaces, you're only going to double crochet 1, and this is where you go onto the same stitch, and then you chain 3 or 2. It depends on how wide you want your corner spaces to be. but I'd say 2 or 3 is a good amount, especially since so you know you can see it for future rounds. Then I'm going to double crochet in that same corner. Okay, so you double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, all in the same corner space. Okay, and make sure you're being careful because this is a stitch right there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, so I'm not all the way in that corner, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, see, I had exactly 20 stitches. And now for this corner space, I'm going to do what I did before, double crochet 1, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then double crochet 1 more inside that same corner space. Okay, and that's what you're going to do for this whole row. Okay, is double crochet 20, double crochet 1 in your chain space, chain 3, double crochet again in that chain space, double crochet 20, and just repeat till you get to the end. I'll come back when I get to the end. I won't do the little time-lapse video, even though I think they look kind of cool. Okay, I'm at the end of my row. I'll zoom out real quick so you guys can kind of see where I am. Okay, next we're gonna do a V-stitch since we've done a lot of double crochet rows. So with the V-stitch, you essentially still have the same number of stitches, but your stitches look like there's a V. That's where it comes from, I guess. Let me do my color change really quickly. This thin yarn is bothering me. Okay, I'm gonna do brown. Hopefully it's still easy to see. I know there's a lot of dark colors. So I'm still gonna do my chain 2. Okay, but this time I'm going to crochet 2 in the same stitch. Okay, double crochet 2 in the same stitch, and then I'm going to skip a stitch. I'm going to skip this stitch. I'm not going to chain 1 or anything. I'm just going to go into the next and double crochet 2 in that stitch. Okay, so the second double crochet that you do in that same stitch counts for the stitch that you're skipping, if that makes sense. Okay, that's why you should still have the same amount of numbers as you would for any other row with the square. Okay, so I'm going to skip that stitch, double crochet 2 in the next stitch, skip that stitch, double crochet 2, and I think this row is important for watching the whole thing through, because when we get to our corner spaces, they might end up a little differently. So I want to show you guys in depth how to handle that part. So I'm going to skip a stitch, double crochet 2, okay. And then, okay, so now that we're at our corner space, we're still going to skip this stitch, but in our corner space we're going to double crochet 2. and that makes up for the stitch that we skipped and the double crochet 1 that we usually have in there. Then we chain up 3, and we're going to double crochet 2 again in the corner space. Okay, and then we're going to skip this first stitch. Okay, make sure you're paying attention to that because that is a stitch. We're going to skip that, and we're going to go back into doing our V-stitch pattern. Okay, skip a stitch, double crochet 2 and 1. Now I am going to kind of fast forward to where I get to my next corner. Okay, so I'm approaching my corner stitch, and see how I have 2 stitches left before I reach my corner stitch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just double crochet. I'm going to skip this stitch, okay, and I'm going to do 1 double crochet in the next one. Now, as you know, the V-stitch from before counts as the one right next to it. Okay, so let me kind of point this out really quick. This stitch counts for the stitch that we skipped. This extra stitch counts for the next one that we skipped. This one counts for the next one. All right, so that's why we're only doing 1 double crochet here, because we're going to do another double crochet in our corner stitch since we don't have to make up for it. Then we're going to chain 3, double crochet 1 in our corner stitch again. Okay, this is how it's looking. All right, we did the V-stitch, skipped a stitch, double crochet 1, double crochet 1 in the corner space, chain 3, double crochet 1 in the corner space again, and then we're going to double crochet 1 in the stitch right next to the corner space. Okay, so we have to make sure it mirrors. Okay, so now we're going to skip a stitch, and we're going to go back to normal, doing our V-stitch. Okay, and again, I do suggest recounting your stitches each side, at least for this row, just so you know what to do with your next panel, and just to make sure all your stitches are the same, to let you know if you need to add an increase, decrease, or if you just want to go back and frog it, whatever. Just make sure you're aligning it the right way. Okay, because I saw a lot of people that were having a hard time, like they skipped a few stitches, and like I said, the math wasn't too important, which it isn't too important, but they kept having to recount because their stitches were not the same amount. Which I do want to reassure you guys, math is not the biggest thing. Like, it's okay, it'll come out cute, but yeah, what you do to one, you have to do to the other. That's the only way that's gonna work. Like, even if your numbers don't match up with mine, the outcome will still be the same as long as you're doing it on both sides. Okay, so I'm approaching my next corner again, and this will be the last corner that I show on the video before I just skip ahead. So I only have 1 stitch this time, so I'm going to just skip this stitch and do 2 double crochet in my corner space. Then I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to double crochet 2 in the corner space again, and then I'm going to skip that first stitch next to the corner space and go along with my V-stitch pattern again. Okay, and that's essentially what you're going to be doing throughout the rest of the row. Okay, I'm sorry I'm like crocheting like this way. I know I'm supposed to be in the middle and I'm all the way over here. Okay, hopefully that's not messing anything up. I hope the way I explain also helps because I know sometimes I go off frame, or sometimes I'm like out of the center. So okay, I'll come back once I'm done and show you guys how it looks. Okay guys, I'm on day 2. Honestly, after I did my V-stitch, I took a break for the day, and we're on day 2 now doing this tutorial. I know it's long. I know we're like an hour and some change in, and people wanted it to be shorter, but since there's so many stitches that I have to like show in depth, like shaping the eye, doing different stitches like clusters, which rows to increase. There's so many different stitches and so many rows that you have to like work on, so many rows that are different than the last. It's gonna take time, of course, so I'm really sorry that it's an hour. I know some people were complaining. With the last tutorial, I literally had no equipment to cut the video, and I could not edit it at all because my storage was full. I was literally downloading and deleting everything, okay? So I'm sorry. I know it's still long, but I promise it's worth it, okay? So right now this panel is 19 inches. I'm 5'1", and I prefer at least 24 inches, okay? So next what we're gonna do is we're just gonna keep going in rows around, okay? We're just gonna keep doing double crochet now. This is the part where you can kind of I don't want to say freeform, but where you can go on your own and choose what you want to do, okay? Because I basically taught all the stitches that are usually in the eye sweaters that I make. So you can do these trebles, treble, skip 1, chain 1, treble, skip 1, chain 1, or you could do just like 2 trebles, skip, 2 trebles, skip. You could do the V-stitch again. I wouldn't recommend the cluster stitch because too many clusters can cause ruffles throughout your clothes, so just be careful of that. If you want to add increases, I don't know what that would look like, but like I said, you can kind of just mix and match. You could do the V-stitch again, but like with trebles to make it longer and stand out more. I don't know, it's whatever you prefer. I'm just gonna do double crochet for now, or treble crochet, because this is a custom order, okay? And I'll come back letting you guys know how many I do and how long it ends up being, okay? Also, I realized that I literally end and kind of start with each clip saying, okay, okay, okay. And I'm sure nobody notices, but I notice, and I just want to kind of say sorry just in case somebody actually does notice, all right? I'm gonna stop saying it.
Okay guys, I don't know what day we're on, but I'm finished with both of my panels, okay? It took me 2 hours, which is, in my opinion, very impressive to do both panels, kind of back to back. I think we're in day 3 or 4 for me in real life right now, okay? Because I definitely didn't do this in one day. All right, so now we're going to be talking about the measuring. I want to start by saying I am 5'1", I am 140 something pounds, and I wear a size medium, which is preferred. But the sweater should fit, like if you're doing a medium, it definitely should fit to like large or extra large, just depending on shape. But I feel like it's stretchy enough if you're using acrylic. And I think medium definitely fits small and extra small. It'll definitely be oversized. Okay, so when you're measuring this panel up against yourself, because I know there's people that are like going like this, okay, but they're missing the couple of inches. Now when you're measuring it against yourself, you're going to go from the middle of your shoulder where most of your shirts start, okay? You're going to measure all the way up there first and then down, okay? So don't choke yourself, all right? See how this matches the sweater that I'm already wearing? The sweater that I'm wearing is 27 inches. My eye is 24 inches, okay? It does kind of stretch out, but since it's a square, it should be same size always, okay? Next, we're gonna be talking about how to sew the neck lining, and then how to do the arms, and then how to sew your sides together, and then we'll be done, finally, okay? I'm gonna turn around and show you guys both of my panels, and just to remeasure both of them, okay? Okay, here's a close-up of how it should be looking. Look how nothing is curling up or ruffling in the middle, meaning I didn't put too many increases to make it ruffle. Everything is flat. It's kind of puffy right here and here, but it's good. It's laying down. I first thought this part would start poking out, but it didn't, luckily. Okay, so I'm gonna get in how to do the neck right now. Okay, I have to zoom out a little bit for this part. So you want your pretty facing out on both sides, okay? So this is both of my pretty facing, so I'm gonna flip this one over. All right, and make sure your if you want your eye to be this way, make sure it's that way. If you want it this way, make sure it's that way, okay? So get your panels to be prepared to actually be sewn together. All right, make sure they're not upside down or anything. Make sure you're counting around the row, that way you make sure there's the same number of stitches in both rows, because what you do to one panel you have to do to the other, otherwise you're going to kind of have to improvise on this. All right, so I have the ugly parts facing each other. Okay, you could see my ends right here. Okay, I haven't weaved in all my ends, which I suggest doing because I dropped a couple stitches crocheting earlier, and usually I only hear dropping stitches and knitting, so that was kind of scary for me for a moment. Okay, so ugly parts facing each other. All right, and this is the way I want my eye to face. Okay, I'm gonna grip my corners here and bring it closer to me. Okay, sorry, I accidentally hit my thing. All right, I could zoom in now. Now we're gonna take I suggest the same color that you left off with when you're sewing your neck together, and I used just a sewing needle. Okay, and you're gonna want your piece of yarn to be longer than your panel. Okay, I suggest like 4 or 5 inches longer, just in case. Okay, I'm about to cut it off. Maybe I do need to zoom out a bit so you guys can see everything. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to count the number of stitches that I have on just one side, and that includes 1 double crochet from my corner space. Okay, so you see how there's a double crochet here, then the chain 3 double crochet. Well, this is treble, but whatever. That's going to be 1. We're going to start with 1. We're not doing this one, we're starting with this one. This is the beginning of, I guess, our row for the neck. Okay, and same with here, we're not ending here, we're ending on this one. Okay, so how many did I end with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Okay, 35. I might have to improvise a bit because it's not an even number, but it's okay. Like I said, it's not gonna make a huge difference if it's literally 1 stitch off. And if yours doesn't match mine, as long as both of your panels match and it's to your measurements, then I think it's okay. All right, so don't stress too much if you don't have as many as me. I think I had 35. I already forgot. Okay, so here goes the part where we're doing more math again. I know, big sigh. Okay, so I had 35, I think I said, so I'm gonna do 35, and for a good size neck hole I usually skip 14 stitches. If you want it to be off the shoulder, I suggest skipping about 18 to 20. You might have to do trial and error where you pinch these two, or you add stitch markers between like right here, like 18 stitches for the neck, and then try it on and see if you like it. Okay, do trial and error for yourself, but I'm good with like 13, 14 stitches to be skipped as just a regular sweater. So I'm just going to do 35, the total number of stitches I had, subtracted by 13, the number of stitches I'm skipping. Okay, it's 22, and I'm going to divide by 2. All right, because that's going to be one side of the shoulder and the other side of the shoulder. That's how the 22 is being split up. So 11 stitches for one side, 13 stitches for the neck hole, and then 11 stitches for the other side. And if you just want to go back and kind of check your math, you can do both of the shoulders added together and then the neck hole, and if you get the same number of stitches. I hope this makes sense. I know it's basic adding and dividing, but I know just listening to it through a tutorial is kind of weird. Okay, so I'll kind of also write it down for you guys as well. I'll like have the little piece of paper here, kind of explaining what's what. But just one more time, 35, my total number of stitches, minus 13, my neck hole. This number is both of my shoulders, so I'm going to split it in two. That's 11. That's one shoulder, okay? Okay, so I'll see if I could edit the wording in, but if you just like want to take a quick screenshot, total number of stitches minus number of neck hole stitches and divided by 2 will equal the number of stitches for shoulders, okay? All right. Hopefully that part wasn't confusing. I know I hate when there's math that I have to do, literally any pattern. Okay, I also hate having to remember numbers. Okay, so I have 11 stitches for one shoulder, so I'm gonna start my sewing now. I'm gonna kind of zoom back out. So when I'm sewing, how I like to do it, line it up correctly, and again, make sure there's the same number of stitches on both sides. Okay, I'm gonna go inside of our chain 1 space first. Okay, so see, chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. I did that backwards, but we're gonna go in the chain 3 space, I guess, on both sides. Okay, sorry, I did that backwards. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna go in the chain 3. All right, both sides, pull through. Okay, that does not count as a stitch. That's kind of just where I'm placing my thread for right now, and I'm gonna tie it just so my thread isn't moving and I don't lose it. Okay, and I don't have to start all over again. All right, but I'll go back and kind of undo it and then weave it in properly, because I don't like just tying it once. But yes, our first stitch will be in the first chain, the third chain stitches. Okay, next we're gonna go into the first stitch, okay, in that corner space on both sides. Okay, whole stitch on both sides. Okay, whole stitch. This is 1. If it's easier for you, you can add stitch markers between like every 5. I don't know, I know some people just want to be sure. So now I went on this side, I'm gonna come back up through the second one on the other side. Okay, and I'm gonna just go back and forth 11 times total. So that was 1. Okay, 2. This one's 3. 3. 4. 5. If you have a fancy technique of sewing, I'm assuming that's fine too. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, I know this is supposed to be like the cut version, but I also noticed a lot of people said they like when I count. So this is the part where we skip the neck hole stitches. We're kind of just gonna weave in our piece of yarn for 13 stitches, or how much ever you prefer. Okay, so I'm on this side and my gradient yarn mostly matches this side, so I'm just gonna go in a total of 13 stitches. All right, I'll show you guys how to do that as well. Basically just the same way that you did before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to make sure it just goes through the holes and not like the yarn itself, just in case I need to go back. So that was 5, 6, 7, 8, kind of getting off film, 9,
think 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, so by the way, make sure you're keeping your yarn spread out in your stitches, okay? Because like if you're pulling it, it's kind of making it like a drawstring, and you don't want that, okay? So that's also why I tied it at the beginning, that way it wouldn't move. Okay, so I could get all the yarn that I need to make it as stretchy as I need it to be. Okay, and so what we're gonna do to the other side is basically just skip 13. Okay, so not including the one that we already sewed together. This was the last one. I can tell because I can kind of see the color of the string between my stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, so I'm basically just going to take my thread and go to my 13th stitch on the other side as well. Okay, all right, moving down. And now what we did to the other side, we're just going to do this side now, which is basically going back and forth for the next 11 stitches, I believe. Okay, the one we ended on, I guess you can count as a stitch. No, I don't think it counts as a stitch, but if it does, I don't think it'll make a huge difference, guys. I see a lot of specific questions that I don't know the answer to in the other video, so I'm trying to be really precise about everything. Like when people ask me if my chain 2 is a space, I didn't know people counted it as spaces until recently, so that was shocking me. Yeah, I don't watch like a lot of tutorials. I probably should, so I could learn other things from crocheting, but that really got me. Okay, and see my last stitches match up. Need to go in these last two. Okay, so this is my last one. And I'm also, I kind of stitched that upside down, like my stitches on the top and not going through where it's supposed to. I'll fix it. But our last one is going inside of the chain space, the chain 1 space now. Okay, so you can see 1, 2, 3 this time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I know I kind of covered it up. 1, 2, 3. All right, and you're just gonna kind of go under it. Okay, and I'm not gonna pull all the way through because I still have to get that one, but I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. Once you pull it all the way through, you can go ahead and tie this off, okay, and then weave in your ends if you'd like, and then we'll start the arm part. I just wanted to show my progress. This is what the neck looks like. I haven't sewn my ends together yet. That's why there's kind of this gap right here. There's not a gap on this side. I also noticed I made a mistake and I skipped a stitch right here. So I'm going to go back and do that. That's why I didn't tie this. So glad I didn't tie it yet, like tie it off. So I'm going to go back, fix that. Okay. But yeah, this is what your neck should be looking like. And this is what I mean, like when you could do trial and error by just pinching it here with some stitch markers and trying it on as is. Okay. So now we're going to get into the arm part. All right. Now the arm part is kind of the easiest part of this tutorial for me, so I'm not going to do too many rows. I just finished my neck part, okay, and I'm on the side right now. Okay, so you guys see that I'm turning it on the side. You'll also see by my eye where I am. Okay, we're on the side of the sweater. We're about to go in the neck part of the sweater, kind of. Okay, so I suggest kind of going with the last color that you used for this row, but it's completely optional. Okay, so I'm gonna go in our corner space. Okay, see how I made that loop? I just made a loop. I put my hook through the corner space, put my hook through the loop, took it through, and I'm going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. These chains do not count as double crochets. I'm going to double crochet right next to my chain inside the same corner space we started in. Okay. And then now this part depends on how you like it. I'm going to double crochet 16. I'm going to double crochet 16 down. I'm going to double crochet a total of 16. This counts as the first one, okay? So I'm going to do 15 more. But if you want your sleeve to be bigger, you can do more. You could do like 20, okay? But I'm going to gradually increase as well. That way my arm gives it flare as I go along. If you want a normal sleeve, again, do trial and error. I would say it's about 14 stitches. I feel like for a regular sleeve, it just depends on the materials you used and how it fits you. Okay, this part you'll need trial and error for, and I'll show you how to do that too. Okay, so we're at 1 stitch. The chain 3 does not count as 1, and I'm gonna go into the second treble from my corner space. Okay, you see the first one, the chain 3, and then the second one. I'm gonna go in the second one, and I'm gonna do my second double crochet. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I was about to do them. That's 16 total. I got caught up kind of counting. Okay, so on the other side, I'm going to count down 16 as well. So we're also going to put 1 double crochet in the corner space on our other side as well. So I'm going to count that as a stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so I'm just going to put something there right quick. Okay, that way I can get readjusted. I'm quick. I never have stitch markers, but I have hairpins and regular pins and keychains lying around everywhere. Okay, and I'm gonna yarn over, and I'm gonna go in that same 16th stitch. Okay, so yarn over, go in the top of that stitch, take your hook, pull through. We're just gonna do a double crochet like normal. Okay, so that's your first out of the 16. All right, see that gap? This is where we're creating the sleeve. Okay, now be careful to not like keep going all the way down in your next row, and not like, do not miss this connecting part of the sleeve. Okay, this is the armpit. Okay, so now I'm turning my whole sweater. This is the only con to doing the arm part, is having to twist your whole entire sweater almost every row. Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Your 16th stitch should be in that last corner space, okay, from our previous rows. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put my hook inside of the first stitch that we did. Okay, you see how I'm not putting it in the chain 3, I'm putting it in the top of the first stitch that we did. And I'm gonna do a color change. Okay, and that's how you start both arms. Okay, you start it on the other side just like that as well. You could see the arm part kind of coming along, and then this is the side that we will sew on later. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna do a color change. Right, and we know how to do color changes, so put our hook through our first stitch. Okay, make that loop on the hook, pull through, right, then we chain up 2 again. Okay, and now we actually have stitches to go into. So we're going to go in that first stitch. Okay, see, we chain 2, and this is the first stitch right here. Okay, it's the same chain 2 space, I guess you could say. Sorry, I'm really trying to kind of just answer questions that haven't been asked yet. So see, I'm just double crocheting along the stitches that we have. Let me go ahead and cut my previous row off, okay? Because I do have to turn my entire sweater to do this arm part. And like I said, we're going to gradually increase. Now, that part is definitely optional for if you want flared sleeves or not. I add my increase to the armpit of the sweater, that way nobody really sees it. Not that anybody really notices, because there's like so many people around me that have never crocheted, don't know the difference between crochet and knitting, so like how would they even know where I put my increase? But still, I just put it in the armpit. And I won't like go over too many rows on how I do the arm with you guys, because it's really straightforward of just doing double crochets and then increases in 1 increase in random spots for like I do it for 8 rows. But again, it's optional to where you want it, where you want your increases, or how many increases you want, how much flare you want, how big you want your sleeve to be. That's all up to you. Plus, it's not like you have to do both sleeves exactly the same, though I think it would look good like that. But like I said, it's not like the panels where you have to do everything the same way, okay? So we're to the armpit part now, and this is a stitch, okay? This is where I'm going to add my increases, okay? So that's where I'm going to add 2 double crochets, okay? All right. And then double crochet the rest. Now for the sleeves part, you get to have a little bit more fun and freedom with it. You could also use patterns that we have done previously in the pattern, like doing the V-stitch, doing the treble clusters, well, the fake clusters, but doing treble, space, treble, space, treble, you know, back and forth. You can do that, add little different kinds of crochet stitches as you go along. I think that's cute, especially if it's a color that's like really out there. Like if I were to add a really bright white and then do a V-stitch like we did earlier, I think it would stand out. Okay, so I am kind of approaching the end of my second row for the sleeve. And I'm gonna do one more row on camera with you guys before I come back and show you what my sleeve looks like, if not both sleeves. Okay, so going in the first stitch that I started with, and I'm about to do another color change. Okay, this bright green. Okay, And I would definitely weave your ends in as you go with the arms, or tie them as you go, because otherwise you're gonna have to like get in there all once you're done. And I suggest doing about, hopefully people are actually listening to the whole thing and not just skipping through, but I suggest doing about 24 rows, just to make them like extra oversized. I'd say between 20 and 24 rows is about what I'm gonna do, but like I said, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you guys. Okay, I think I'm getting better at editing YouTube tutorials, so I feel confident in being able to answer a lot of people's questions, because most of the questions they ask are in the video, and I could just kind of direct them to the exact timestamp where I answered the question. Okay, these two colors kind of look like coffee, and now I'm kind of in the mood to do some type of fall coffee pattern. I start new patterns and then I just like flop after they don't look exactly how I thought they would look in my mind. Just give up right after. I'm one of those people that are like having unfinished projects everywhere. Okay, so I'm kind of in my armpit part again. Hopefully I didn't go off the film, but I'm into my armpit again, so I'm just going to do my end crease right here. Now it doesn't matter if you do it at the beginning or the end or in the middle. Like I said, it's just pretty much up to you guys. Okay. And this will be my my last row that I show on camera. Okay. When I come back, I'll let you guys know how many I did in total and how long my sleeve is and what they look like, of course, okay? Okay, I'm kind of approaching the end. All right, I think that's my last stitch. No, it's not a stitch. This is how my stitches dropped last time because I was not paying attention. Anyway, so I'm gonna zoom out a bit. Here's what my little sleeve is looking like so far. We got some inches, inch, 2, okay? And this is where my neck is. All right, it's all piecing together. These colors low-key look like Frankenstein. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I've done both of my sleeves. My sweater's pretty much done. I already sewed the side for one. It's pretty straightforward. It was just like the neckline, except we're not skipping any stitches. But I'm gonna go ahead and make a little clip on how to do the side as well. Okay, so you're gonna take a piece of string, preferably the same color as the color that the panels that you ended with. I had gradient yarn, so it ended up being 2 different shades. It's fine. Take a piece of string longer than the piece that you're trying to sew together. Okay, I'd say like 3 to 5 inches longer, just in case. We're gonna start at the bottom and we're gonna go into the second chain. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3. All right, other side, 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm gonna go into that second chain for the first one and the second chain for both sides of my panel. Okay, and just like I did with my eye sweater, I'm just gonna tie. I'm gonna leave a little bit of the end and I'm gonna tie it really quick. That way it doesn't move. It's just a base for now. Okay, I can untie it later if I need to move it. Okay, I'm gonna kind of turn my sweater so we could see it better. All right, and I'm gonna go into the first chain on both sides now. So chain 1, chain 1. And then just like the neck part, you're gonna go all the way down in each stitch, back and forth. Okay,
and make sure they're lined up. I would suggest counting your stitches first, making sure they're lined up still, okay, because otherwise you're going to have to improvise with your sewing. That's why it's so important to make sure what you do to one panel you do to the other one. That way this process doesn't become too difficult and it's not like uneven, because it might be noticeable. So it is okay to skip a stitch as long as you're making sure you're doing it to the other one, okay? And make sure it is stretched out, because we don't want it to crumble like that. That's like a drawstring bag, okay? I think I just skipped, yeah, see, I accidentally skipped a stitch. Make sure you're actually going through the stitches and not like going through the yarn, okay? Only because you know, like if you make a mistake, you don't want to have to do that ugly process where you're trying to fit the needle through the little pieces of yarn, okay? And we're gonna pretty much do this all the way up into the armpit part, okay? Okay, so I just did my last stitch and I'm in the arm part, the armpit part, okay? And the 2 stitches that we did to make the arm, I'm kind of just gonna go in the middle of the stitch, okay? And both of the stitches that are next to each other, I'm just gonna go in there to kind of close that gap. And I'm pretty much done. I'm gonna kind of pull it, that way my thread gets in between each stitch and it's not crinkling, I guess, anywhere throughout the side, okay? And then you could go ahead and just tie this up, but when you tie it, make sure you're not like pulling the string as you tie it, okay? And then I'm just gonna show you guys what it looks like on, and my measurements. For the arm, oh sorry I didn't say this earlier, for the arm, I know I ended on the arm, I had 24 rows. I did a couple rows of treble. I think I did 3 rows of trebles, okay? Yeah, and it was 22 inches total. Okay, here we are. Look at this. This is too cute. Look how cool my pants are as well. They have skulls on them. Okay, but anyway, the ice sweater, it came out so perfect, okay? Look at this. You could also kind of see my sleeves gradually getting bigger, okay? I did tie my knots kind of tight, so you can kind of see that as well. I guess that's like the only thing wrong with it, but like also if you don't crochet, people won't even notice. But I'm so happy with the result. This is the side, okay? I could have stitched better here, tied it right there. It's the other side. It looks pretty good. I'll go back on this side and kind of fix the armpit, but it's the armpit, so it's cool. And look, the necklace matches it so good. I love this necklace. It's my favorite. Okay, look at that. This is gonna be the sweater that's on. This is gonna be the clip that is literally on Pinterest, or the thumbnail. We'll see. Okay, look at this. Let me pose right quick. All right. I'm also babysitting, so the baby is just like staring at me right now. Do you like my sweater?
No.
Why?
I like Play-Doh.
You like Play-Doh?
Yes.
You don't like the sweater?
No.
You like Play-Doh?
Yes.
Okay. Do you like my sweater now?
Yes.
Do you like it more than Play-Doh?
Yes.
Really?
I like Play-Doh.
Okay, say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys.